On this week's episode, we have a very unique guest, an ex professional runner that used to line up beside Olympic competing athletes to now turning himself into an entrepreneur. He has started multiple companies, he's involved heavily in the options trading market and the stock market as a whole. He is a real estate investor, a short term rental investor, and just has an all around great story to tell. So please join me in welcoming on a good friend of mine, Matthew Giannino. Matthew Giannino, thanks for joining us today, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Pumped up to be here.
Got a little walk excursion. Looks beautiful out where you're at right now.
Yeah, a little sunset and like winters out here aren't even that cold, so it's awesome.
Really, you're in Colorado, right? What part of Colorado?
I'm in like the high mountains, like 8,000 feet up above sea level, so
Jeez.
not too much oxygen,
Yeah.
but lots of sun.
You are actually from New York City, right? Or New York, upstate New York?
Yeah, I'm from Syracuse. Went to school in Rochester, in between Buffalo, so way towards like upstate where it's cold and there's no sun.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I spent half my life, I would say.
For sure. I'm actually from Erie, Pennsylvania. I'm not sure if you know where that's at, but like right below Buffalo. So
Yeah,
I get
for sure.
snow belt, freezing cold. It's not fun, not a great place. But this actually might be the first mobile podcast I've ever had. It's pretty interesting. You know, like the
Me walking?
Yeah, you walking. This is pretty funny. But yeah, so man, I would love to hear a little bit about your story. I know we just got connected. You just had me on your podcast, so wanted to return you and have you on here because we talked about a lot about my story, but I didn't get really a chance to learn a lot about you. And I know you're an options trader, living in Colorado. We connected through Ashton Nolan. You're a stock market trader. I think you said more so long-term dividend investor, but you're also an entrepreneur, as I just discovered. So I would love to hear more on what you have kind of going on in your day-to-day over there in Colorado.
Yeah, so my background is graduated college with a mechanical engineering degree and was running a ton, like 100 miles a week in college,
Oh, wow.
and just decided to go professional. So, yeah, I mean, professional athletes don't have a lot of other time in the day, so I couldn't work like a mechanical engineering job. And I had so many internships in college, and it was just like cementing the fact that I never wanted to work a 9 to 5. Like they were the worst jobs you could have imagined, like
Yeah.
worst experiences, like big bullies, like on the above you, just like trashing the interns every day. So
Yeah.
I think I was meant to experience that crap, so I never went into the corporate world. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, but it was just like terrible, terrible, terrible. So it just made me never want to do it, like after college.
And you said professional
Yeah.
running. What is that? What does that entail?
Yeah, I mean, like you train 2 to 3 hours a day. You're like napping, you're eating, you're just in this mental fog because you're just grinding your body down
Yeah.
to be at the top tier of like what you can do and your abilities. So
Yeah.
I basically lined up with like Olympians. I lined up with like
Wow.
sub 4 milers. I'm a sub 4-ish miler myself.
Wow. Okay.
And that was my passion. That was like the only thing I cared about. And
Yeah.
it was such a narrow world.
Mhm.
And then once I retired, it was, it was shocking. It's not easy for athletes to
Yeah.
like go and lose that part of themselves that they define themselves as for like almost like 10 years. So
For
there's a
sure.
lot of depression with athletes, especially athletes that like hit medals and stuff. Like they don't live a normal life after the fact. But yeah, that was like 5 years of after college, just training with the best in Colorado, and just meeting a lot of awesome people and doing a lot of awesome races. And it was great.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible. The sub 4 miler, I can't even imagine. That's I'm like struggling to break seven minutes. So you're running it in half the time. That's unbelievable. How do you train for something like that? Is that just like through repetition? Like is it pace? Is that like diet? Is it sleep? How does that work?
Yeah, it's everything. Like you have to be the top of everything you do. Like you got to get 10 hours of sleep. You have to drink like a gallon of water a day.
Hmm.
You got to eat like protein at this time and
Hmm.
eat more calories at dinner. It's just like it's a full time gig. And
Yeah,
in terms of training, man, I could go on and on about the science behind it.
yeah.
But
I would love to get into the options trading stuff, but you also said that you're an entrepreneur. So take me past like the running life. You kind of what was it like after you said it was hard? You're like it's really hard mentally. So what was your first step after you quit and retired from professional?
yeah, I mean, it was a slow transition. I think when you're like doing something and you want to go to the next thing, you can't drop what you're doing and like take that bet. You kind of have to
Yeah,
like dip your toes and have small wins to like verify that you can successfully transition over like and not like be struggling for a long time like people who quit their jobs to trade right away. It's just going to be a very tough realization that it's they may not even be profitable like for a couple of years. And
yeah.
so for me, I was like running and trying stuff along the way the whole time. Like I was always starting like small gigs, like businesses, like photography. I was doing tutoring. I was creating like watches and stuff.
Oh
And
wow.
I made like this cooking device that goes on your pan and tells you like when your steak's done or your eggs are done or like when your pasta's boiled. So like I made this like app for it and like a device you just literally put on your pan to just tell you when your anything's done cooking. So
Really? What?
just
How you do that? Is like the you design like the oh yeah, engineering, right? That was your major, so that was your passion to design things like that.
yeah, I just loved creating. I loved starting like businesses, and
Yeah.
I was like what's it called? I had like a circuit board, and I was soldering pieces on the circuit board, like
Yeah.
resistors and microchips, and I was making like my own device
Wow.
from electrical engineering, and I programmed the device and I connected it to my cell phone through Bluetooth, and it was a fun project.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
that's
was
pretty cool, man.
yeah, at the end of the day, it's more of a passion because to create like a product that is on Target's shelf, it's like millions of dollars
Yeah.
of investment.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Unless you go on Shark Tank, you can get some help, right?
yeah, give away like equity and get
Yeah,
investors. Yeah.
100%.
So that was stuff I've been trying like on the route to eventually trading, and then trading just started to replace income instantly. I know you know that feeling where you turn like 1K into 30 and
Yeah.
you saw the potential like instantly.
Yeah, for sure. You get the luck of the draw almost. The beginner's luck was my situation. But I feel like even after that, it's the consistency is really hard. You know, even after doing this for so long, it's still there's some days where you fall into a rut because not there's no strategy in the world that's going to work every day, right, or all the time. So sometimes when you're getting stopped out every now and then, it's like you're trying to refine it the most amount of time. So to replace the income level is a huge milestone. You know, to be able to see the capability is one thing, but to be able to replace it with the income level, that is a whole nother level. You know, to become a full time trader, or full time trader could be part time. It could be an hour a day. Because you can make your trade based off of one thing you're seeing in the most volatile times, make your income, make your trades, make your money, and then you could walk away and go work on other things. So it's interesting to hear how it replaced your income almost instantly for you. Do you think that's because of a lot of studying you did along the way, or what's kind of the strategy that you had to be able to have it replace the income?
My income was like super low back in the day, but like when I say replace income, I just mean like it was replacing like the first trade I made was $50, and I made
Oh,
$50 for tutoring one student. So
okay.
like it literally replaced like that. But like when I created that like device to help people cook, like that didn't replace my income instantly. It's just
Yeah.
shocking how amazing the market
Oh
is,
yeah,
and
lucrative.
yeah, like how quick the transition can be to like reaching your financial goals. And
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, even like one success can't be replicated forever. There's like you got to adjust and adapt, and
Mm.
you have to master yourself and your emotions. But man, um, it's amazing, but it's definitely a grind to be a full time trader.
100%.
I think my biggest struggle is like running businesses. My like attention is diverted. Like I get into a meeting and like the best trade comes up in the meeting, and it's
Yeah.
just like it's mentally overwhelming sometimes to just miss out on stuff because you have
Yeah.
to do other stuff.
For
So
sure. For sure.
yeah,
I feel
that's
like
tough.
I feel like the you kind of have to almost discipline yourself to be like, okay, this is like the time frame I'm going to trade every day, and I can't sit here and watch it all day long. Because if you just watch it all day long, you're basically just like kind of it could cause a lot of damage in your trading too. Because you could start over trading, you could second guess, you could be forcing stuff. So I kind of just developed this like I'm going to be trading for an hour or two of the day, and I'm never going to trade at this time, like right at open. I'm going to wait for this time, and I'm only going to wait for these perfect setups. And basically, by refining it and making it more simple, I've seen a lot more success that way. But I see what you mean by, you miss out of something because you're in a meeting for a different company, or you have to do something for a family or whatever it may be. It's just like all the time there's like this FOMO because it's a nonstop. I wish I would have done this. I could have got filled here. I got stopped out there. Like I was right, but then I was wrong, or I'm happy I got stopped out because it went worse. But you're never going to time it exactly perfectly, and it's never going to be like you got the lowest level sold at the highest level. So it is like a
Yeah.
mind. It's like a mind fuck at some point. You know.
Oh yeah. 100%. And like I said, like we were saying earlier, like everything at a high level is like a mind mess.
Yeah.
You have to really like understand yourself and master yourself before like becoming successful in anything
Yeah.
else.
100%. So what are some of the video or the businesses outside of trading that you have working on?
Yeah, like during COVID, everyone made a lot of money, and I was trying to figure out what to use my money with.
Yeah.
So I was like mining crypto and had like $100,000 of mining equipment in my garage.
Wow.
And dude, I bought at the top, like didn't make any money, and like mass sold those things at the bottom. Like,
Wow.
yeah, I think like the top of the market led a lot of people to do like a lot of dumb things and FOMO. Even like me with just starting a business like that. I think it was too frothy for everything, like NFTs,
Yeah.
and it's just a lot of realization that real businesses like what they take to start, like what you
Yeah.
need to do to be successful. So a lot of trial and error businesses, even through COVID, that was one of them. I've been helping out with like a SaaS company called Threat Alerts,
Oh
and
wow.
that's a grind too. That business is more like managing coders all day and making
Okay.
sure the platform's working. Um, yeah, I think the biggest, like for any entrepreneurs listening to this, the best advice I can give you is learn marketing. Like learn ad copy, learn Facebook ads, learn Google ads, because
Mhm.
the people you hire are going to spend your dollar. And if they don't know what they're doing, they're going to waste your money and put you out of business. And
Yeah.
if I didn't have like income coming in from all sources, I have like most of like I would be in business today with the people I've hired. Like they've blown through 2 to 400K and everything. So
Wow.
yeah, if you're starting a business, you got to be careful with marketers. Like you have to do it yourself in the beginning and just learn it, because it's such a huge expense that can go the wrong way.
Yeah, 100%. Because you got to utilize the strategy. It's funny you say that because I don't know if you know this or not. We didn't get a chance to talk about this, but I actually I own a digital media marketing agency, like a full service
Oh,
agency.
No
So
way.
that is one thing that I developed over time by growing a personal brand and options trading, all this other stuff, Um, because there's so many people out there that's like, I can run your ads. You're like, stop scrolling. Like, this is what you need to be putting your money in, and like, you'll get the money out. But you're not, there's those ads and everything are just, it's clickbait, right? Because like these people are just trying to grow their brands and like, make a quick buck. But unless you're refined to a certain strategy or a certain niche of an industry, it's really hard to get that ROI. The ROI is really hard nowadays. If you're not 2020, 2021, where everybody was throwing money everywhere, now it's a
Yeah.
little bit harder. You need to have those keyword researches. You need to have to make sure your click funnels are operating correctly. Your website is really intact with the good SEO, the web links, the backlinks aren't broken. Um, it really is crazy how the digital funnel is everything needs to be intact for there to be a really good conversion at the end of it all. So, yeah, we offer like a full service thing where it's, ads, SEO, website creation, PR, like press releases and stuff. And that business is one, super lucrative because everybody needs that. But two,
Yeah.
it's really important to learn it, and it's important to learn it for yourself, which is exactly why I quickly realized that in our business model, and now we're creating like this almost like this consulting education strategy package for people that don't know it, because you're gonna have a lot more value doing it for yourself than you are having someone else do it for you. It saves you time, of course, but by learning it and educating maybe even a team that you want to build, those types of things are better to learn on your own, because you'll see a much better ROI understanding your own. Like we could work on somebody's business and we could, provide results after we do the research, but you're the one that really knows what you want. So by having that knowledge of the market is, I feel like, a key point to success.
Yeah. So what's your company called for that?
It's actually Nextera, same thing, Nextera Marketing
Ah,
LLC. So I can send you the website, you can
nice.
check it out. But
For
it's
sure.
it's really cool how you hit on that, because it really is everything, right? Everything's going to the digital world, whether it's no matter what industry it is, you have to be present digitally of some sort in order to have that brand recognition or that brand awareness. So that's
Yeah.
that's really what we have going on down here. And
What's like your top tier product you can service?
I would say that ads is probably our big thing right now. Google Ads. Google Ads is really great. The website creation is great. Honestly, all the strategy packages are really great too. Just like the consultation on how to build a business, because we have so many people in house that have worked with so many different types of clients. So there's a lot of niches in there where we could basically just like talk to you, learn about your brand, learn about your product, and then see what's kind of missing, why you're not seeing the results that you want to, and then basically offer like a advice on whether you should be spending your money on ads. Research those keywords, what's the cost per click, or where you should be focusing on more, because you don't want to run ads if your website's bad. So we're not going to just take your ad money when you could get organic reach by making your website better, your SEO. Um,
Yeah.
so like I feel like it's a full service agency for a reason, but I think that maybe the consultation is like the biggest add value. But if we were to do a service, I would probably say the Google ads or social media ads. I feel like we have a pretty good ROI for our clients. Um,
Yeah. That's such a smart business, man. That's as long as you get the right paying clients and you do great with them, it's such a great business to have. So
of course.
congrats.
Thanks, man. I feel like there's a lot of add value in it too, right? So there's so many different models. You could charge like flat rates. You could do pay per conversion. So like you can set up an ad, you can optimization fee, and then pay per performance. We don't get you could do don't get paid till then. There's so many ways to go about it, but it is such a saturated market, so finding the right
Yeah.
clients and having a niche is your leg up against your competition. So, and personality too. You don't want to work with somebody that is not easy or fun to talk to, or doesn't know what they're doing. So it's a pretty tough business in terms of competition, but it's a great
Yeah.
business to scale. So that's the other focus outside of options trading that I have. But this is about you.
Nice.
Yeah, this is about you, my man. I wanted to. Had no idea about the professional running. That's so cool. I can't imagine what it's like to be competing against Olympians, to starting the entrepreneur business. So what's this? You're managing a team. You're coding a team of coders. Is that what's going on? Is this your company or is that a company you're working with?
Bread Alerts is like an option selling software. So they scan for the best covered calls, cash secured puts, and credit spreads. And
Yeah.
yeah, we started that company like a couple years ago, and it's just it's a whole other world being in a software business because marketing like
Yeah.
if I put my face on something, it's easier to connect to you. But like if I put like a logo of Nike, like if you don't know what Nike is, you can't connect to a logo as easily. So
Yeah.
there's a tougher friction to get customers and run ads and
Yeah.
get organic. But
For sure.
another learning experience for sure. I think my life has always been like just keep learning and just keep failing. Like whatever you do, try something new
Mhm.
and just keep learning, just keep failing. Like
Yeah.
right now, I'm coding a trading bot
Mhm.
that just does credit spreads all week. Today it did a credit spread at the bottom and at the top. It's nuts.
Wow.
And because like profitable strategies, but
Yeah.
like you said, you only trade a couple hours a day. So if your strategy hits at the time you're not looking, wouldn't it be nice to trade it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's that's
I'm trying to automate literally every strategy I've ever found and liked, and just back test it and keep the best ones
yeah. Oh,
printing printing forever.
so you know how to code as well. So you have
Yeah,
all
I
the
mean,
accolades.
on top of marketing, like if you can code, that's like the best skill.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
like if you want to start a business, you have to know marketing, but if you know coding, you're indispensable.
Yeah,
Everyone's going to need a coder.
for sure. Yeah, so you are an entrepreneur, but you're also like a corporation's like number one target. So you could get acquired and picked out of the litter anytime. If all else fails, it's probably got to feel like a good safe haven, at some point. Um,
Dude, like I said, I was at this job, an internship, and the head engineer was sitting with me at lunch, and I was talking like a run I went on the day before and how beautiful it was. He's like, if I ever saw you running, I would hit you with my car. That's what he said to me in front of everybody at lunch.
it as an intern.
Yeah. So,
What the hell?
th- there's no plan B. I'm not
Yeah,
working a job.
yeah. Hey man, I feel you. I was in the corporate world. My first job was pretty cool, the New York Stock Exchange. But there's just something about creating something. You just are always feeling like whatever I put in, I'm gonna get out. I don't know. There's just something about it that just makes you, I don't know, fulfilled. But I do feel like, let me know if you feel the same way. Sometimes you're like trial and error. I'm very similar mindset. Trial and error. You're gonna find out everything. I feel like over the last 2 years since I've done this, I'm smarter now in these 2 years than I was in 22 years of schooling. Right. So
Yeah.
it's crazy how you can learn so much, but do you ever feel like in these trial and errors, so many different routes you could potentially go, figure out what you want to do, what skill you want to master, what niche you want to focus on? Do you ever feel like it spreads you too thin? Do you ever feel like maybe you're like, oh, what am I doing here? Like, should I pivot? Do you ever get in like a clouded headspace, or how do you kind of deal with that psychology of it? Because I know it could be tough, right? Unless you have a different approach to it.
Yeah, like the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
I I think a ton of people are like over pivoting because we're in a recession. One thing stopped working as well as it was, and they're like, I gotta try something else. Like, and then they pivot again. There's too many over pivoters, but
Yeah.
you have to know, like, yeah, I mean, what you want to be doing in 10 years. Like, you have to have that vision and just put yourself on that track at all times. I think for me, like, I love trading. I love creating a business, and I'm still doing that. So
Yeah.
once I stop doing that, that's a bad it would put me off my track. So
Yeah. For sure.
for me personally, that's like my 10-year plan. But um, yeah, just got to keep doing those two things. And
Just trial
in
and error.
terms of like business, like my time's not wasted if I'm learning marketing. Like I'm learning Google Ads right now. Like
Yeah.
it's even though it's not like they say like you should outsource everything, just have everybody do it all, and you just manage. But like
You got to learn it first.
you should know. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should be competent enough. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my business partner actually for the marketing company came from Google. He was working at Google for about 6 years. So he taught me that, and he knows it like the back of his hand. So if you ever need that connection, just hop on a call. Let me know. I could give you. I'm sure he could give you some good tips if you ever needed them while you run through that.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting my ads approved, but once they're approved, I'll have to.
That's tough.
I'll have to bounce some stuff off you.
I'll send him a text. I'll put us in a group chat, and if you ever have any questions, I'm sure he'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think like anyone else, like curious on. I think everyone wants to just replace income and not worry about money, and
Yeah.
it comes down to just buying stocks and real estate and just not thinking like
Yeah, dude, real estate.
it's so simple. Everyone makes it like totally complex. Like it's not
Yeah.
leap options. It's not I don't know. It's just so simple. It's real estate and stocks, and just don't sell.
Yeah, that's a yeah. I mean, especially now. Maybe back in 2021, I would disagree because everything was so overvalued in the beginning of 2022. But now it's like, okay, you should just buy and hold, buy and hold. Learn to sell covered calls, collect some income for yourself, and hit some real estate. And the craziest thing, this is why. I mean, I'm from a small town. You know, I went to West Virginia, so not the best school ever educationally. But
Uh-huh.
like I said, the last 2 years, I feel like I've encountered so much by having businesses and learning, by doing. I've learned so much. And just this year, it's like in 2021, I did this whole cross country trip because I thought, business expenses, I'm going to travel around to have some expenses to write off. Little did I know, real estate, like you're saying, is the best tax write off ever, right? So you can actually operate
Yeah.
yourself as a loss, and that actually can offset your trading income or your investing income. So if you ever realize these gains, you could just use those gains to buy a real estate property, make passive cash flow off that, and you don't have to pay taxes. It's like the life hack of the world. And after speaking with an accountant 2 years later, it's like, damn, I really missed that boat. But
You good?
yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, you're totally right. I think but you can't take a loss in real estate unless you're a real estate professional.
Yeah. Oh, right.
But yeah, you can't.
You can't take a lot unless you're. I think. Are you sure? On the line item, isn't it there? There's a line item right after capital gains. You can write off the purchase of a real estate. My friend is a tax accountant. He showed me that earlier, and he's also showed me. We can talk about that in a second, but
It's depreciation. I mean, real estate's depreciation that is
yeah.
written off, but only on real estate gains. Like you can't depreciate and like depreciate your trading gains.
Doesn't it offset though once you're buying like the house, right? So if you buy the house and you're technically your income for the year is in debt, it's the line item right below. So that's like, don't they offset each other? I'm sure. But the way he was explaining it, they're saying that they offset each other by the purchasing power of it because it kind of offsets the gains for that year if you're purchasing because you're now negative. Let's say it's a $400,000-$500,000 house. You write off the depreciation of that, so it offsets that line item.
Yeah, so like I have this house in Denver, Colorado,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna rent it out at like 2,500 or maybe 3,000 a month, and
Yeah.
I think I'll net 1,000 on that a month, and
Uh-huh.
so I'll make 12K this year on that house,
Yep.
and that house is I think I bought it at 300K.
Yeah.
Every year I can depreciate like 1/30th of it, and let's say that's 10 to 15K. Well, the 12K I made on renting it out is no taxes because depreciation.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that depreciation cuts the income from the property every year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean like the mortgage payment, like half of that goes to my bank. So that's like also money that's like just so clean and
Yeah.
so easy that nobody even thinks about. It's
Yeah. It's just
so
passive. The passive
yeah,
income.
it's untaxed, man. So like your property goes up 7% a year, but it's also leveraged. So you only
Yeah.
have 10% in there, but you're making 10% on 10 times that money.
Yeah.
So it's just such a great game in real estate. And like you said, with everything being overvalued 2 years ago, real estate wasn't. Real estate's
Yeah.
still been going up every year, but stocks have been going down. Like a lot of
Yeah.
stocks have been down 70%. Dividend stocks probably flat. I think that Dow Jones is like 5% off all time highs, but
Yeah.
real estate's steady, man, and it hasn't dropped recently, especially in Colorado.
Yeah. Colorado's a booming market. I feel like anything outside of the big cities are pretty tough. You ever think about arbitrage? You ever heard about Airbnb arbitrage? Arbitraging your property? I guess not
Yeah,
really arbitraging since you own it, but I feel like
yeah,
there's some
like
more passive income in it.
people do like apartments and they do 10 apartments and arbitrage that, but
Yeah.
uh, that type of thing is like kind of what I was saying is like people want to get fancy and like
Yeah.
just not do what the easiest way
To
to
make cash flows.
level up, like just buy real estate and buy stocks. But
Yeah.
I think moments like this with recessions and with economic downturns are going to squeeze the people out that are getting fancy, the
Yeah.
arbitrageurs. Because
Yeah.
I'm in this apartment complex in Colorado and nothing's rented out and they're all Airbnbs and it's vacant. Every single one is vacant right now. It's nuts.
Wow. Interesting.
So
And
everybody's going to get squeezed on those like fancy plays.
those leases. So nobody's in these apartments. They're just. Have you seen people come in and come out like often or no?
So they're mostly just rentals and Airbnb rentals. And there's probably like 20 of them that I'm just looking around and haven't seen anybody staying here like
Wow.
past like one or two places like a week, really.
Wow, that's crazy. I've been thinking about that because every market pops, right? Every bubble pops, and the car market started to pop. I see this Airbnb arbitrage stuff. People are arbitraging everything, whether it's Turo,
Yeah.
Airbnb, because there's a margin there, but at some point there's so many fees, it's so expensive. People just like kind of return to old traditional hotels or just renting enterprise. When does that market pop? And I feel like it's starting to fade because I see bookings going down like crazy. Um, it's interesting. It's really interesting you say that.
Yeah. So like market's efficient and any, inefficiencies will get weeded out eventually. So if there's like,
Yeah,
some dude making $1,000 on an apartment, he's arbitraging. Well, everybody's gonna do that in like 6 months, and
yeah,
he's not gonna have a business doing that.
yeah,
It's so like starting a business, you have to like create a moat to not get weeded out like that. So
yeah,
a lot of people have been pitching me these like Airbnb arbitrage like ideas for years, and it just never seemed like a risk that I want to take. And it's now I'm starting to realize like it's very risky,
yeah.
especially
Because you get
when
locked
when
in with
the
those leases, right? You got a whole year lease versus. I feel like this you could still like kind of diminish that a little bit, but it might not be as profitable, and you're locked in for a certain amount of time.
yeah, and like but the beauty of real estate is like the mortgage payment it goes like most of it goes to you. So
Yeah,
when you arbitrage something like the guy who is you're paying for the mortgage, like he's the winner.
yeah, for
You're
sure.
you're you're still taking on all the risk, and he passed it on to you basically.
Yeah, it's interesting. Would you ever list your property on Airbnb to see if you can make more cash flow than it would be like a tenant type thing? 'Cause since you own it, it's kind of not arbitrage, right? It's a little bit different. It just feels like it's maybe a little
Yeah,
extra work, but
just a pure rental. Yeah, this
yeah,
place I'm in now, I'll rent out on Airbnb. The other one I'll rent out with a property manager, like a long term person.
yeah,
And I think that yeah, it's just based off like other things like HOA rules and
yeah, for sure. There's always so many other hidden fees that people don't talk about. It's not all the expense and then the income. There's a lot more to it. That's interesting.
yeah,
So
like dude, like you said, like yeah, I think you hit it on the nose. Like people that are if they're saying they're making money, they're leaving out a lot of details that are really
yeah,
important. Like
yeah,
if someone made $1 million, like in marketing, like they probably spent like 800K on ads.
if not more. like Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
like a clean zero ROAS or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's funny. You can't believe everything you see on social media, literally anything anymore. It's kind of where you know, I used to be posting profits and stuff, thinking that was going to be a good marketing tactic, but it's really not. It's not valuable to post like gains or anything like that because people then like get a different perspective where it's like, oh, they make that every day. It's like, no, sometimes there's some red days. Sometimes it's like pretty consistent. Some days it's flat. It's all over the place, unless you have a consistent trading strategy, but everyone's different. So I really stick to value, the education piece to it, like different types of setups that I see. That's more so what I see stick and like kind of take off a little bit. There's different types of hooks and editing that you need to have in there too. But um, yeah, it's interesting how social
Yeah,
media has kind of been saturated too. It's brainwashed
yeah.
us all.
I appreciate like your content's very honest and down like straight to education. So I
Hmm.
think that wins in the long term.
That's sure.
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Unfortunately, like a lot of people, they're just like shining bright. They're not going to be in the industry for long.
Yeah,
And I see a lot of them also just like faking a lot of this stuff, like paper trading,
yeah.
like
Paper trading.
totally not profitable at all.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's so much out there, but I feel like that I've over the years I've kind of figured out who's profitable, who's not, and like who's being real and who's not. So it's like it's nice to have it
Yeah,
connected of like a small group. You don't need to expand it too much, but it's really cool. It's really cool to see how social media can connect so many people. And weed out the ones that are shining bright for a little bit because they're viral, but they fade away at some point because something comes up. But it's interesting. It's really interesting. So tell me. So honestly, one thing I wanted to hit on real quick is you were talking about coding like a credit spread bot, right?
uh-huh,
I gotta. I've been trading this one strategy for so long, um,
uh-huh.
and it has such a high success rate, like such a high success rate. I should run it by you. Maybe we should pair up together to see if we could make it a bot to trigger it at some point. Um, it'd
Yeah,
be
dude, I guarantee I could get it done for you in like 30 minutes to an hour. Like most strategies are already coded on TradingView. Like
yeah, most of them.
anything you're interested in, like some guy already probably coded it. So
Yeah, maybe,
you,
maybe it's pretty simple. It's really simple. It has to hit on like 3 or 4 different indicators with a certain amount of volume. But if we could code that, that could be a good indicator to trade off of. Especially if it hits
yeah,
automatically. Because sometimes I miss them. So if I don't miss them and it's doing it automatically, it could be something great.
I know. Yeah, that's a business idea for me in the future. Is like
Yeah,
helping people make their own bots. But
for sure. You got a powerful weapon by having the coding skills. You can really turn that into anything. Um,
well, you got Chat GPT, man. You don't even need to know how to code nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder how that's going to play out too. I feel like AI is one of those overhyped things that'll die off and then it'll come back in the future. I know AI is going to be the way of the world, but it seems to be a little too overhyped right now.
Yeah, it's probably like 5 or 10 years too early. I don't
Yeah,
know, man. Like we could be surprised and like the whole McDonald's like staff gets fired and there's like robots just working McDonald's like
yeah.
tomorrow. Who knows?
You never know. You never know. That's crazy. All right, so you have a lot going on. It sounds like there's, ex professional athlete. You're working on different businesses. You know how to code. You're creating steak warmers to tell you when your steak is done, your meats are done. You got it all under your belt, and you're an options trader, a long term investor, real estate investor. It sounds like so. You're diversifying your portfolio and personal brand really really well. So, is there anything that you're working on right now that you're passionate about that you have like forward thinking for future success? Like, what's your next move to continue the success and the entrepreneurial route that you've been on for so long?
Next move right now is just still doing what I'm doing. So I'm just really trying to. I'm going to create a couple of trading bots and try to get those fully working and basically fully printing. That's my next goal. And then on the side from that, um, I do want to get like another business running I don't know which sector it's going to be in, but for me to do that successfully, I have to master like some other skills first that I'm
Hmm.
learning on the side. So,
Yeah.
like I was reading Russell Brunson's book, and he says the best business is the one that creates its own category. So, if you want to like you making a marketing business, how can you create like a marketing business in its own category? And for me, that's what I want to find is like, well, a business in its own category. Like, what can
Yeah.
I do? Especially in trading. Like, if I could do that in trading, that's the end game because
Yeah.
I can do some fun stuff with that.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I think that's my goal is you got to create another category of who knows trading or bots and um, that'd be my next business. But
Yeah.
it's going to be my last one, and it's going to be $100 million buyout. So
Let's go.
gonna be very careful how I plan it out.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. That's I mean, those are great goals to have, and that's a great vision. That's also great advice to create a category that's not, thought of yet. That's where most of the demand and most of the big businesses exit, right? It's because they're creating something that nobody has, so they get acquired, which is always the end goal for entrepreneurs, right? So it's a great way to think about it.
Like Hyros, man, you see Hyros got bought for like $100 million. Like it's in its own category, and he was all over ads for 5 years, and there's nobody really competing. I think
Yeah,
there's one other company, but it's just he dominated that space, and it was his own space.
the high rows you said. What was that? The company?
Hyros, it's like an ad tracking, like
Oh
AI
yeah, yeah, yeah,
scripts.
yeah,
Alex Becker.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, no, he crushed it. He really crushed it. But it's interesting how you'd have to find something that's really just a small tweak. Like it's like ads are a thing, but the small tweak could really make you a ton of money. And I actually came across a
Yeah,
kid that was a little bit older than me who started a marketing agency as well, and he just had a small different recipe to his business, and he was able to grow it to about 8 million in revenue, and then he sold it 8x for $64 million at the age of 28. So, I mean, crushed it. It's crazy what it can be, and to be honest, what you're looking for if you're creating businesses that has that differentiator in the next 2-3 years when we enter into another bull cycle that everybody's going to want to start throwing cash and acquisitions to grow and invest in their business. It's the time to create, right? So next 2 to 3 years, we could be on the high path to success. I'm excited to see what you create.
yeah. I think like if you make your own category, you're basically recession proof. Like
Exactly.
if you have your own category, there's no lack of customers, and even if the market like booms, you're just gonna do even better. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I think people should be trying to start something at any time and
Hmm.
just always be, like I said, trying and failing. And
Yeah.
I think Russell Brunson tried 32 businesses before he made ClickFunnels.
Wow.
So
Crazy.
that dude's insane.
Yeah. I mean, Mark Cuban says it best, right? He said you can be wrong a million times. It doesn't matter. All you got to do is be right once. That's all it takes.
Yeah,
That's all
yeah,
it takes.
for sure.
For sure, man. Well, hey, Matt, I really do appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, sharing some of your ambitions and your visions. It's really great to be connecting with you again. I know we just got connected, but I'm excited to see where this connection can lead us. Maybe work on some projects early on in the future.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I appreciate your time too.
yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for coming on the show.